The story starts with Hina watching her mother absorbed in a mysterious black hole, but before her mother gets taken, she requests Hina to find the legendary Red Baron, then she handed her a black orb. After 5 years of searching, Hina arrives in a town where she meets a masked man who makes a very bad first impression, making other girls run away. The pervy creep asks Hina for money, as he wasted his money on junk and now has nothing to buy food. Poor Hina was frightened and ran away, but he kept chasing her like a hyena. However, his hunt got cut short when a wild cougar came out of nowhere, slapping the shit out of him. The cougar's name is Nana. Turns out, this adult Meliodas goes by the name Licht and was staying with Nana, who was kind enough to treat Hina to some food as an apology. While chit-chatting, the blue-haired cutie states she is searching for someone at her mother's request. Nana then realized her mother had fallen into the abyss. Hina was confused and asked her about it. Surprised she doesn't know, Nana explains that everyone in this world has their own count since birth, acting like some sort of a ranking system to keep them alive. When the count hits 0, the person gets dragged into the abyss. Further adding, those with lesser count have to listen to the ones with more body count. And unlike what you think, to increase that body count, each person has to do something unique to their accord. For example, in Mina's case, when someone compliments her food, her number rises, while for Hina, her number rises according to how many miles she walked, revealing she has walked the equivalent of 441 miles. As Hina prepares to leave, she meets a soldier named Davi, who proclaims to be the legendary Baron and the person she was looking for. Upon hearing this, Hina cries tears of joy and goes with the man. The cougar asks Licht to go and check on the girl if she will be safe, yet Licht's main issue at the moment is some kids with no manners stealing his stuffy toy. Meanwhile, things are getting steamy at government office as Davi seems unable to keep his hands to himself, so Hina tries to stop him by whipping the ballot out. Suddenly, Davi and his henchmen became hostile, demanding to take the ball. Hina cried and wondered why he did such a thing. Officer Douche reveals to her that he wasn't the real legendary Baron. Soon, Licht arrived at the guardhouse to save Hina. Davy and his henchmen were laughing after seeing Licht's count, although his henchmen immediately realized something was wrong with Licht, since he was not absorbed into the black hole even after his count reached below 0. Licht tells Hina to stop finding the legendary Baron, as they are not heroes but murderers. In the past, there was a war and the world was devastated, until a group known as the legendary Red Baron appeared. After the war ended, the legendary Red Baron disappeared from the world and were never to be seen again. Back in the present time, it shows Licht holding Hina in his hands and all soldiers were afraid of him. So Davy tells them to calm down, he must be a fake Baron, and ordered 3 soldiers to charge him with swords. Licht disappears with a force left behind and aftershock sends them flying. On the other side, Nana and an old customer saw the explosion from the Royal Guard's base. The old customer wonders what's happened there, and Nana explains that Licht is known as the Flash Baron and his true count was 5,700. Furthermore, the negative 999 was the number of girls that turned him down. Once Devi is defeated, Licht took Hina's ballot to sell it for money, and in exchange he gave her his doll saying he's not the hero she wanted. When the girl got back to town, she cried to Nana about Licht taking her mother's ballot in exchange for the doll. Nana inspects it and gives it back to her smiling. In Hina's hands, the doll bursts into flowers. As it turns out, the ballot was inside. Nana explains to the confused waifu that Licht did what he did because owning a ballot is a crime, and by doing so, he protected her from getting killed by the soldiers. After Hina discovered Licht's true intention, she followed his wagon and asked him to stay together. However, such is not the way of a pervert boy, resulting in waifu feeling hurt and his negative count increasing to minus 1,000. Once Licht left, one of Davy's men appears behind Hina and discovers that Licht returned the ballot to her. Yet he's not interested in the ballot, but more interested in Licht himself instead. The guy then thanks Hina because due to her, he could finally discover Licht's whereabouts and inform his true commander about it. In a small village located in the mountain, the major line of the Royal Guards had just created her flyers for a children's playground. Her subordinate, Pell, entered her office to report news from the Royal Guards regarding our masked boy. However, Line tells Pell to do their volunteer work before reporting, as she wants to increase her count since her count goes up based on how many desperate people she helps. Soon, they found a masked man with a pudding costume standing in front of them. Seeing Licht in desperate need of help, Pell suggests to Line that they should help him, as it's the perfect opportunity for her to increase her count. Hesitant Line offers her hand for Licht to hold, which the sly dog jumps on like a thirsty mother fornicator that got lost in the desert for decades. Annoyed, Pella calls it a day and points out that Licht's negative 1,000 means he must be a ballot holder, as there's no way he would still be alive if his count dropped to negative 1,000. Lime then takes Licht's mask and realizes that this pretty boy is indeed the legendary Red Baron. Licht wasted no time and took Line's sword away, believing she can't do anything without her weapon. However, As the saying goes, thick thighs save lives, and she plans to save the villagers from this so-called criminal by swinging dem legs all over the place. Back in town, we see Lieutenant Jail interrogating Nana. She tried telling him to piss off, but he locked her up with his metal ability, so she tells the Full Metal Alchemist character Wannabe that as far as she knows, El went east. Jail realizes she is lying and tells his men to ride west. Hina asks Nana what just happened, so Nana explains that he must be a ballot holder. A ballot can give the user immense strength and special power depending on how many counts they have, and that is why owning a ballot is illegal. Back at the village, the chase game comes to a brutal end as Lick gets caught by an iron spike attack. Thinking the main man has died, Lion gets angry and saddened at Jail's cruel action. Yet the man doesn't care as he orders the soldiers to surround Licht, who is acting dead, to avoid fighting in the village. The soldiers attack the pretty boy and almost hit Lion if it weren't for him stepping in. Upon seeing Licht's power, Jail ordered the soldiers to stay back and stated he will handle the fight himself. Jail releases his attacks at Licht from the ground, which surprised him. Licht felt the fight was a bit troublesome, so he begins to move faster with his flash ability to confuse Jail and slip right by him, but the top J follows him matching his speed, sending him back on land. Turns out, Jail's real count is not 900 but 12,500. This count increases according to the strength of his conviction to punish the evildoer with his own hands. During combat, Jail gets surprised when Pudding uses a similar hand-to-hand combat technique used by the Royal Guard. The fight ends with Lick getting captured by Jail's uncuttable iron of conviction, leading him to surrender willingly. Suddenly, though, Lion comes in between the Iron Whip and Lick as she believes Lover Boy is not a bad man, especially after all the help he did in the village. Jail doesn't care and tears Lion's flyers, calling it stupid, as well as calling Lion useless. Lick breaks his binding as if they were cookies. Jail realizes Licht has yet to show his true strength, so the boys attack each other again, with Licht releasing a little bit more power, surprising the Four-Eyed King. Licht ridicules Jail for not knowing anything about the town and orders Jail to apologize for the girl, who falls off a cliff due to the power emitted by them. Jail rushes to save her, but before he could, Licht reaches Lion in a blink of an eye and catches her. Licht, being the silly man Pudding he is, complains about how Lion is too heavy and that she should go on a diet, resulting in Lion blurting out, "I hate you." In the last moment, Licht tosses Lion towards Jail, warning him to be careful as she's heavy. Jail carries Lion to safety and tosses her to the ground, body-shaming her. Later in the city, Lion and Pell found Licht while he was trying to pull a Meliodas special on Hina. Lion thanked him for saving her back in the village before handcuffing him. Hina then stopped Lion from taking Licht away from her. Both Lion and Hina then argue about how they know Licht and what he usually does to them. Seeing the situation getting out of hand, Lover Boys make a run for it. Later, while trying to judge who cooks better, Lion or Hina, Jail appeared at the last minute and interrupted them. The second round of this rivalry starts with Jail insisting Licht shows his full strength and doesn't hold back. Nana then steps in and scolds them as they're acting like children and damaging the town square while doing so. Both men get overwhelmed by her forceful personality, leading all party members to enjoy some drinks for an entire night. The next morning, Jail, Lion, and Pell awaken to the realization that Licht and the others have already left the city. While trying to track them down, they come across an injured soldier from another town. They check on him, and then go to his city only to find it burned to the ground. The trio investigates what happened in Linden, and Pella discovers a survivor, so they ask him what happened. The survivor described the demon as a big horrible monster that suddenly appeared from the black hole in the middle of the city. He and the other soldiers tried their best to stop the demon, but none of their attacks worked against it. Believing what the survivor said was true, Jail thinks that this demon might be a ballot holder with destructive power. However, his claim got disproved by the survivor, who outright stated the demon can fly. After the survivor fainted, Jail was shocked as there is no creature besides birds that can fly in this world. In Anasis, Licht and Hina go back to work in Nana's mobile tavern. The fun trio crosses path with the serious trio yet again. Jail explains that he was here because he wants to ask Licht some questions about the demon, so he creates an iron spike and aims it at Licht's head. As both of them are about to fight, Nana stops them like last time and suggests solving their personal hatred by having a drinking competition. If one of them gets drunk before the other, he will be considered a loser and must do what the winner tells him to. During the competition, Jail keeps asking Licht about his identity and where he came from, but Licht keeps ignoring his questions, which pisses him off. Soon, an earthquake suddenly happens. Pell comes running to take the boys to a hot spot with a massive glory hole in the ground. While everyone was confused by the black hole, the survivor appeared again and said the demon is coming to destroy the town. Licht finds the sound coming from the hole familiar, and when he recognizes it from old times, he tells Jail to order everyone back as it seems they're gonna face an old ferocious foe. Soon, from the depth of the dark hole, the demon rises with its metal wings, revealing the flying demon to be a helicopter. After the demon had appeared, the demon started spraying the citizens with bullets, which Jael stopped by creating a huge iron wall. Soon after, Licht takes control of the scene and orders Jael as well as the royal guard to clear the area and take the people underground. Frustrated, Jael asks Licht how much he knows about that demon and why they should follow his orders. Licht flexes his military rank as a colonel to take over the command. Soon, Licht went to fight against the demon, while Jael stood analyzing all the information at hand to finally realize that Licht is indeed the legendary Red Baron, as the superiors claim to be. While Licht tries to stop the demon, the hands of Althing suddenly appeared and stopped him from reaching it, to then turn their attention to the helicopter and chase it. But the heli is too far for Althing to get a hold of it, and whenever Licht tries to leap for it, the hands attack him automatically as they attack anything that goes near. During the fight, Hina wonders if something strange will happen again. Jael gets curious about what Hina said and asks her what she means by strange. She tells him that one time when Licht attacked the hands, his right eye suddenly showed the number code 001. Hina then asked the royal guards to help Licht in the fight against the demon, but Jael stated that they can't help him as Althing is the god of the Althea country, so any attempt to stop the hands would result of them receiving the death penalty. That said, Jael took off his glasses and asked everyone where they had gone while shooting pillars at the hands. The soldiers from the royal guards soon realized what Jael wants to do, so they all decided to help Licht. After throwing as much stuff as possible to make the hands grab them, Licht's job became easier as he could now leap on the objects and maneuver mid-air easily to finally reach the helicopter. However, he suddenly stopped his attack. With no idea what Licht saw, Jael goes closer to the action and tells him, "What are you waiting for? Finish the damn job." Suddenly, bullets rain down on them, destroying the heli. Everyone looks at the sky and notices a mysterious girl flying. The girl puts a gun to our boy's head and greets him like an old buddy. Jael, being the curious cat he is, asks the chick who the hell is she. In return, he gets a bullet to the chest. The mysterious girl introduces herself as Mizuka, one of the 7 legendary Red Barons known as the Pursuit Baron, which seems to be acting insane. Licht jumps to stop her, but she comes from behind to hug him and says it has been a while since the last time they met. She tells Licht that after 300 years she can finally kill people without any problem, so she should be able to follow his orders by now. In an attempt to show her growth as a person, Mizuka tries to kill the citizens with her weapons. Licht tries to tell her to stop, but she doesn't listen, leaving him with fighting as his only choice. This makes Mizuka happy as she believes this would give him a chance to kill her. As Licht tries to dodge Mizuka's bullets, the bullets keep following him as she can control her bullets. Thus, Licht was soon defeated by Mizuka with her ability as a baron. After Licht got defeated, the group was captured by the killer chick lackeys, while Mizuka kept asking Licht to kill her, something he refused to do, so she decided, like any crazy chick, to bring a kid into the table to make the man's life hard. Licht tried to tell the child that he would save him, but the wuss started crying, prompting the guy to pull the trigger. Suddenly, the man holding the kid at gunpoint evaporates in front of everyone, shocking the group as they didn't see anything hit the guy. Little do they know, it was Licht moving faster than the speed of sound. The main man then proceeded to kill all the men in a flash, just as how his name suggests. Angered, Licht pledges to kill Mizuka, just as she wished. Nana tries to stop him, but Licht tells her to shut her mouth as his left eye shows the code 001. Soon, Licht wears his mask and tells the lads that he is a plunderer and his true purpose is to steal everything from Althea for his own purposes. Seeing Licht with his OG mask, Mizuka says that she is happy as it means that he will finally kill her for her sake. Licht then tells Mizuka to start the game of Star Theft Bout and wager their stars, and she happily accepts his challenge. Once the game begins, Hina worries about Licht and wonders if he can win, as he has lower counts in comparison to Mizuka's 32,000 count. Yet Pella points out the time Licht managed to almost defeat Jael despite having inferior counts. Pella then asks Nana if she knows the truth behind the Baron, to which she remains silent. On the other side, Licht tried his best to reach Mizuka, but he couldn't keep up with her speed due to her bullets following him and knocking him out. Once he stands up, Licht begins screaming and releases some kind of aura surrounding him. Hina noticed that Licht's count increased while he was screaming. The group gets shocked as the count shouldn't automatically increase without fulfilling a person's desire. Nana explains that the Barons can increase their count whenever they like, which is the exact reason why they were referred to as the legendary Red Barons. Once Licht's count increased to 57,000, Mizuka stated that she was glad that Licht finally is willing to kill her, as shown by his killing intent. When she tries to attack, Licht disappears, terrifying her. She then tries to shoot him with her guns and uses her ability to make the bullets follow him. Mizuka says no matter how fast he moves, his flashing strike is useless against her as her bullets would keep following him to no end. However, like every other badass samurai, Licht easily cut the bullets. Mizuka dropped her guard, and Licht found his chance to attack, slashing her from angles using his speed of flash. Nana tells everyone to leave the area since to increase their power level, every Baron exchanges parts of their personality with a person named Schnomen, where they would no longer be the same calm, reasonable person, and in the worst case scenario, they may not even able to return to their normal selves again once they became Schnomen. Incidentally, when Licht successfully defeated Mizuka in his violent killer state, Mizuka's count got reduced from 32,000 to 16,000. Nana revealed that she has been in the Schmomen form the whole time, which confuses Hina and the others as they don't know to whom Nana is referring. When Mizuka awakens, she notices her hands covered in blood and begins crying. Turns out she's not the type of girl who enjoys destruction like her alter ego. However, Licht doesn't give a damn that she is back to being the innocent version of herself because he's still under his alter ego's influence. Thus, he grabbed Mizuka's neck and told her to continue their fight rather than scream like a crybaby. As Licht is about to kill Mizuka, Hina swoops from behind and hugs the killer boy, begging him to return to his normal self. First, Licht wanted to kill Hina for stopping him, but then Mizuka shot him with her gun, stating she was the enemy, not her. Luckily, he gets stopped by Jael, who is revealed to be alive. Licht swings his massive sword another time, yet Jael is somehow able to block the attack despite having a lower count. With a small piece of metal, he blocked Licht's attack, claiming that Licht in his current state doesn't have a conviction and a sword without conviction won't be able to hurt him. Soon, Jael changed the form of the small metal to an iron pillar and threw it at him, asking Licht if he was serious or not. Since he doesn't believe Licht is someone who would mindlessly kill someone who depressingly wants to meet him. Licht, while still in his Schmomen form, he explains he had to kill everyone because he is fighting a war. He believes that in a war, he must kill everyone to protect his friends and family, even if he doesn't want to do it. Soon, Jael revealed he had a second glove, which contains a 45,000 count. Now fighting at full power, the G-Man creates an iron golem wielding all sorts of weapons. Licht managed to block the first few attacks of Jael's golem, but later failed against his overwhelming hammer of conviction. After Licht has been defeated, Jael kicks off his mask, revealing that he has regained his sanity and is crying. Meanwhile, in a certain church, a blonde man is reading the story of Tortes and the heir to a couple of regrets. Although the story is twisted and ends with the death of the Tortes, the kids love it. Soon, the soldier from the first episode arrives to report that not only the mission of capturing the Flash Baron failed, but also Mizuka, who was mind-controlled, regained her sanity as well. The man claims that it's all fine as there will be a lot of chances to capture Licht, especially when that man himself is a wizard, aka Schmomen, the field marshal. After the end of the demon incident, Licht and his friends were all hiding somewhere in the forest. Meanwhile, Jael went to the capital city to meet with the Supreme Commander. Once Jael entered the office and saluted, Alexandrov, who looked like a guy who eats cigars for breakfast, leaped from his chair to hug his boy, but the cool kid sidesteps it, stating that if he doesn't have any reason to see him other than father-son reunion, then he will leave without notice, so Alexandrov switched to a bit more serious tone to hear his boy. Jael reports his encounter with a strange group wearing a black uniform with strange weapons he had never seen before, so he asks him if they were part of the royal guard as well. Alexandrov angrily denied their connection to him, claiming they were not under his control. Jael gets confused and wonders if it's possible since his old papa is the supreme commander, meaning everyone answers to him. Alexandrov explains that they were a different faction created for assassination and spying known as the Special Service. He then advised Jael to be careful as they have ears everywhere and won't hesitate to kill him if he opposed them. Furthermore, Alexandrov shines some light on what the legendary Red Baron group is, explaining that they were created as a mass weapon for the abandonment war with Licht as the commander. Jael finds this ridiculous and states there's no way a human can live for 300 years long, but Alexandrov explained they stop aging at a certain point due to their status as mass weapons. Soon, Alexandrov notices Jael is acting weirdly cautious, so he takes his hand, revealing his count has dropped to 12,499. He mentions that not telling a lie is a part of Jael's convictions, so when he asks him if he knows where Licht is hiding, Jael claims he doesn't know and the count decrease. He later gives his boy a choice, either give up his men or capture Licht, so he wouldn't end up being killed by the Special Service instead. So when Jael returns to the group, he enters quietly, without saying a word. Licht realizes what happened during the meeting and accepts to surrender willingly for everyone's sake, to which the gang protests, so Jael pushes them away and binds them with his metal. When he is about to handcuff Licht, Nana appears and slaps him, saying that he shouldn't follow what the others tell blindly and follow his own wishes instead. After hearing Nana's words, Jill stopped, deciding to help Licht like before. Soon, Nana reveals herself as a Baron with the ability to time travel. She sends the group to the past, begging them to change the past where she failed. After they land, Jill and the gang get confused about where they are. Their confusion gets amplified when they see a younger Mizuka calling Licht by his Japanese name Rito before entering a huge building. Jill wondered if the black-haired dude they saw earlier was a younger Licht or not, since he looked nothing like his present self. Pell also wonders how come technology in the past was far more advanced than in the present time. Jill and the Three Stooges followed the other people and went into the enrollment ceremony. They found out that the huge building is a training school. While looking at the people around, Hina got pushed into the ground by a tall, ugly guy with goofy eyes and posture. Line went for help and tried to tell the guy to apologize. However, the meathead wasn't having it and slapped cuteness off her face. When Jill tried to attack the ugly bastard, he realized he was missing his ballot, which means he can't use his metal abilities. Because of this, the handsome man is caught off guard by a right hook. Luckily, a younger Mizuka shouts the guy's name, clearing the air. The ugly bastard's name was revealed to be Duin. He asked Mizuka if she wants to be bullied, since she told him to stop earlier, but then a man with a wooden sword named Sekai came and told Duin to stop, as what he did was meaningless. Soon, Hina overheard someone's voice that claims it's counterproductive to fight each other over nothing. When Hina looked down, she found Licht pulling a Meliodas special and enjoying the view. Embarrassed, Hina stomps on his face as if she's stomping on a big-ass cockroach. A guy named Alan kicks off the enrollment ceremony, telling the newbies that they're no longer ordinary citizens, but soldiers, and that they must follow the orders from their superiors. When he goes overboard scaring the people, the pink-hair hottie steps in with her thick feminine charm, telling Alan to speak nicely. Then she introduces herself to the newbies and explains the history of the nuclear war, a war that happened a few years ago in an attempt to steal resources from other countries. Before she could explain more about it, Alan stopped her as they should leave it to the headmaster Schmoman to explain and make his speeches. As everyone salutes the guy when he enters, Hina gets confused at the name Schmoman, as it's the same name Nana mentioned earlier. Schmoman starts reading the storybook about the tortoise and the haze, confusing everyone. As Schmoman continues reading his storybook, three newbies laugh at him for reading them a children's book. Schmoman ordered them to shut up, but they don't listen, so Alan points his gun at a girl and shoots. To further prove a point, Alan tells the other two guys that this is what happens when they don't follow their superiors' orders and kills them as well. The other newbies freak out and try to escape, but the doors are shut. Alan shoots in the air to make the room go quiet. He then points his gun at Hina and says that she deserves to die too, as there is no place for crybabies on the battlefield. When Alan is about to kill her, Tokikes swoops in with his wooden sword and stops him. Tokikes asks Alan how can you randomly kill without any signs of humanity, to which the man replies, it is what it is, before kicking him back to his place. Finally, Licht busts a move, takes the headmaster hostage, and threatens to kill him if Alan doesn't spare the kids' lives. Schmoman asks Licht if he seriously thinks he could kill him with a tree stick. Schmoman takes his hand and teaches him how to snap his neck, telling him he has to choose either kill him or Alan kills Hina. Licht states he won't kill him because violence isn't the answer. After hearing his words, Hina and the others realize that he's indeed Licht. Schmoman then states he would have no choice but kill everyone in the ceremony. Everyone except Licht got overwhelmed by Schmoman's murderous aura. Luckily, thick Mommy Ferenda steps in and clears the air by revealing that it's all an act. The three newbies that Alan killed earlier were in fact still alive as he shot them with a paint gun. The reason why they did that was to scout any special kids out of the bunch. While eating, Jill reflects on what happened at the ceremony, deducing that Alan was indeed acting, but not Schmoman, which showed real killing intent. Speaking about the man with the hard name to pronounce in his office, he tells Alan that there is a rare warrior here, referring to Licht. Alan then asks Schmoman if Licht should be the one that leads the army, to which Schmoman replies, I'm not sure yet, we need to test his abilities first. Soon, Pele appears and takes the gang to show them what he found on a device they call the computer. He shows them some videos about the Althing falling from the sky. Pale then searched for more information about Althing, but couldn't find anything due to restrictions put on the info. Soon after, Alan appears behind them and explains that Althing is a god that landed in Japan and later was known as the Althing. The Althing can create new rules for the world, so the United Nations used it to put some rules for all nations and abide by them to stop the nuclear war. However, the world is still far from safe, which confused Hina. Before leaving, Alan told them that the class was about to start, so they should return to their classroom. Pell speculates that if Althing didn't originate from Althea, then there's a possibility the count and how people always get sent into the abyss was set by humanity with the use of the Althing, leading them to suspect the school being the center of it. Now knowing how Rito will become licked, they cannot decide how to proceed since both they and their home country of Alcia will never exist unless Licht wins the abandonment war. The next day, Schmollman suggests to the kids become soldiers that do not kill by becoming so powerful they scare opponents into surrendering. Doubting his intentions, Jail follows Schmollman to a hidden facility and learns they are trying to replicate Althing's voting power since Althing got rid of nuclear weapons, but not war itself. He also sees them experimenting on rats for Project Baron. When a rat goes out of control, Schmollman uses his power and freezes, shocking Jail since there was no ballot on him to harness power from. Alan hears something outside, so he goes to check and finds nothing, all thanks to a young Nana who saved him. Turns out she was the very first Baron created. They call her the Baron of Knowing. She explains some humans like Schmollman can genetically harmonize with Althing to gain powers, but normal humans like Jay can only harmonize using ballots. The Baron surgery involves implanting Schmollman's DNA into normal children to give them his genetic ability, which only Nana survived, and eventually so will Rito, Sanohara, and 4 others, making 7 Baron in total. Unable to reveal more, Nana gives Jay a modern memory card from future Nana containing the reason she sent them there. Before leaving, Jail promises to see Nana in 300 years, but as he makes an escape, he gets caught by Captain Allen, who sentences him to execution. During their fight, young Jay realizes that Alan is a young Alexandrov, his future foster father. Hence, he stands up, holds the gun to his head, and resumes telling him about all the events that lead him here, so he lets Jay live. Soon after, Jail demands hand-to-hand training from Alan because although he trusts his future father to be a good man now and then, he concludes if something happened and Alan made a mistake, he must be able to defeat him in the future and become supreme commander in his place. Schmollman begins training everyone with medieval weaponry, explaining that guns will soon become obsolete, therefore the strongest soldiers will be those trained in melee combat. In secret, Schmollman reveals the coming war is meant to kill off the surplus human population so the species can survive. Schmollman takes the students to the beach for Capture the Flag training, which Rito's class wins by fleeing with a flag instead of fighting and outwitting Doan. The class decides to make Rito their commander. Fearing the Baron Project is in danger, Schmollman cracks under pressure from the dominatrix Mommy, who points out that the lab rats showed aggression due to sharing his cold killer tendencies. However, they can fix it by operating on the strongest genetic candidate Rihito. And so the man with a soft spot for kids agrees on the human testing. After having the situation explained to him, Rihito agrees to the surgery. Jail, unwilling to risk Alcia never existing, decides to stop anyone interfering with Rihito's surgery. Hina decides to let Rihito become licked, but prevents him from killing, so he never develops his Schmollman personality, and Alcia will still be created after the war. Yet in this fictional story, it's too good to be true, as a foreign country suddenly attacks the academy. Soldiers begin slaughtering the students all the way to sweet Sanohara, who is on the ground praying for her man to come, but instead Doan comes, takes her gun, and starts blasting, saving her, while G handles saving most of their classmates. Ferenda explains to Alan with a sadistic smile that 4 of the 7 ballots needed for an Althing vote are in foreign nations, meaning they must have secretly voted to allow war again. The enemy cuts off the electricity, risking Rito dying from incomplete surgery, which by the way resulted in his white hair change. The entire class fights their way to the emergency generator. In the process, many of them are injured or killed, and we get to see how Alan receives his future trademark facial scar when he saves the kids from a rocket. Incidentally, Ina gets caught by a soldier, so she calls out for Licht. Luckily, Jail reactivates the electricity, and Rihito survives. Schmollman gives Rihito his trademark sword, explaining it as a replica ballot that must be activated with an oath of his choosing measured by a number, but our boy understands nothing. Hence, his first entrance with the new power is a bit goofy. Thankfully, he gets used in the super speed at the perfect minute, and starts defeating enemies in the blink of an eye, earning him the title Baron of Flashing Strikes. That said, it's way too much for young, innocent Rihito to handle. As he runs away from the group to puke and have a mental breakdown, Hina followed him and kisses the guy, realizing it's all meant to happen. And they can't change a thing, but what she can do is tell him to be strong and promises to be waiting for him in the future 300 years after marry him and carry his children, so he will never be lonely again. The group begins to glow as they get pulled back to their own time. Rito decides the only way to ensure his friends don't kill is to do all the killing himself and swears his ballot will count the enemies he kills on behalf of others. The waste war begins. Rito, now licked, begins slaughtering thousands of the enemy, hiding his face behind a mask. 4 of his classmates receive the Baron surgery: Sakai, Doan, Sanohara, and Captain Allen. Schmollman decides the world is beyond saving and begins planning a utopia called Alcia. 2 years later, the war ends when Schmollman, having now retrieved all 7 ballots, uses them to create Alcia floating above the ruined planet. He destroyed all means of contacting the surface, creates Alcia's population from the DNA of all races, and kept the population in check by sending anyone with a 0 ballot count to the abyss, revealed to be a portal to the planet's surface. It is also revealed that Althing sustains Alcia by continuously stealing resources from the survivors on the surface. Learning that Sakai stole a ballot, Rito killed him on Schmollmann's orders, but murdering his brothers sent him into a coma. After he finally woke up, he learned every member of his class remained on the surface and died. That day, he and Nana escaped Schmollmann, and for 300 years, Licht never removed his mask and barely spoke even to Nana until he met Hina. In Althea, Jail punches Licht, then shows him the memory card young Nana gave him from future Nana. Video contains clips young Nana recorded deciding to become Licht's wife, then documenting their 300 years together after the war, during which Licht never removed his mask or even said a word, making her believe that Licht hates her since she reminds him of the bad times. Licht begins to cry and apologizes, revealing he was ashamed to remove his mask because he had lost his smile and didn't want Nana to see his fake smile. Hina later catches Licht in an animal trap and demands to know why he keeps leaving her. Licht reveals he knew Hina's mother, Sukina Pharaoh. Licht reveals Sukina was his childhood friend who somehow survived 300 years without the Baron's surgery and stole the 10,000 ballot from Schmollmann 5 years ago, leaving Schmollmann with only 3 ballots. Licht reveals Hina's father was his adopted brother, Topikes, whom Licht murdered. Yep, you heard that right. Not only the chick is younger than him by 300 years, but he is practically her uncle. Anyways, back to the story, the group passes out from wine drugged by Licht, who explains he is leaving to defeat the army. However, Big Daddy Jay doesn't get affected by the drug as it lies under his convictions. Meanwhile, the SSU begin assassinating army commanders who are looking into the SSU's shady matters. During a meeting to assess the situation, the Supreme Commander reveals that the creation of Alcia must be re-voted periodically, but since Sukina stole the ballot, Alcia is in danger of falling out of the sky. Consequently, with no clear answer, Alan decides to ask Alcia's king to choose how they should handle the matter. Back to the main characters, Jail berates Licht about the pain he causes to his friends, but Licht insists it is still better he kills for others not have to, which is something Jail convictions go against, so both lads remove their facial accessories and headbutt each other real hard. As Licht leaves, he reveals his desire to stay with Hina and hopes he can see her again before the end. The next morning, everyone recovers from the drug and chases after Licht. Schmollmann sends another Baron to intercept Licht, Doan, whose power over gravity pins Licht to the ground, nullifying his speed. As he is about to be crushed, all Licht can think of is seeing Hina again. Hina and the others find Licht unconscious before being captured by the SSU. Meanwhile, Jail went back to the capital and is having a father-son reunion, which he doesn't dodge this time. Alan fires his adoptive son from the military so he can return to his friends, who are now imprisoned by Schmollmann. Hina demands to know why he betrayed his students, and he reveals that the non-killing army was created to weed out the weak and find people like Rito for the Baron's surgery. Then he orders Doan to perform the Baron's surgery on them and leaves. However, Doan refuses to let anyone become a Baron who did not suffer through the Waste War and kills his own men to set them free. As they are leaving, Hina accidentally drops the 10,000 ballot. Furious that they might be plotting to destroy Alcia after he and the Baron suffered to create it in the first place, Doan decides to kill him. Luckily, Lynn escapes, but not without sustaining heavy injuries after Doan shot her in the stomach with rocks as she flees on horseback. Hina stands up to Doan and insists Licht will save them. Intrigued, Doan decides to wager their lives on her certainty. If Licht appears by morning, he will let them live, including Nana, who is sneaking to save them, but if Licht does not appear, he will kill them all. Lynn finds Licht and tries to perform CPR but passes out from blood loss. She gets saved by her friends from her village who encourage her to tell Licht about her feelings. After she finally tells an unconscious Licht her feelings, she comes to terms that he doesn't feel anything for her and urges him to save the woman he loves, which is Hina. When Sweet Lynn walks away and is about to faint, Licht appears from behind and catches her asking where the party is at. On the other side, Hina claims Doan must secretly want Licht to succeed, or he would have checked to see if Licht was really dead after he crushed him. Doan angrily denies this and starts crushing them with his gravity power. To their luck, Licht appears with Lynn in his arms and stops his old buddy. The main man asks Pell to perform surgery on Lynn. Pell tries to act as if he knows nothing, but then gets shocked when Licht says, "Cut the act, I know you can do it." And so they leave Licht, who finally tells Hina he always loved her, but his guilt for killing her father made him keep it a secret. Hina kisses practically her uncle, and promises to stay with him and have his children, though Licht insists on waiting for an appropriate time. Licht then confronts Doan and apologizes for breaking the promise they made 300 years ago by now trying to destroy the Altia they fought to create. Sanohara suddenly appears and shoots Licht under the influence of her dark personality. Schmelman watches and wonders if Licht can defeat two of his old friends. Sanohara blames Licht for constantly rejecting her no matter how hard she tried to catch up to him, and Doan blames him for Sanohara going insane since she developed an unhealthy dependent behavior. Not to mention their classmates who all died for his dream of the non-killing army. To save them, Licht almost activates his Schmelman personality but is prevented at the last second by his now best friend and rival Jael. It is revealed that his Count Falling to 1 has reduced the amount of iron Jael can summon to a single piece, but he blocks all Sanohara's shots and doubts the conviction of her own power, rendering her psychologically incapable of hitting her targets. Sanohara admits she no longer wants to shoot him and breaks down crying. Licht insists the idea of Alcia was flawed from the start, so he plans to start again with his new non-killing army. He and Doan engage in a fistfight, revealing Licht was always incapable of murdering children even on the battlefield, putting the responsibility on Doan's shoulder to kill hundreds of children to keep Licht alive. Doan refuses to let Licht start a new war, and Licht refuses to let Alcia keep stealing from the weak, deciding one of them must die. Doan creates a black hole, from which not even light can escape, canceling out Licht's light speed movements and leading the main man to get sucked into the black hole and vanish. Licht awakens in the gravity well, and several masks of the Baron criticize his actions and advise him to give up and die. Licht realizes he was wrong to kill, so his classmates wouldn't have to and decide to die. Hina shouts for Licht to come back, and Licht remembers his promise. He destroys the masks and splits the gravity, while allowing him to escape and knock a disbelieving Doan unconscious. Doan recovers, returns, Hina's ballot then leaves. Lin awakens and accepts Licht rejected her. Meanwhile, Jael outside her room reminds Nana he promised to play with her upon returning to the future, making her blush before leaving, hinting at their future relationship being a power couple. That said, the coolest moment in the story happened when Pella confronted Licht in secret, demanding to know how Licht knew Pella could perform life-saving surgery on Lin. Licht reveals he has known for a long time that Pella is secretly a member of SSU, but decided he wasn't a threat due to his feelings for Lin. Sadly, though, the cold moment got cut short when Lin's villager friends try to have Pella confess his feelings for Lin, but instead return to bickering with her over a meal. Licht decides to collect all 7 ballots, not to destroy Alcia, but to find a way for humanity to survive without Althing. Schmelman begins planning to take over the capital city, and several unseen figures suggest Licht's classmates are still alive. The end. If you enjoy this video, be sure to subscribe for more amazing recaps.